Dear friends, the topic of today's discussion is Introduction to Pharmacology. Pharmacology is the science which deals with drugs. Actually, it is a Greek word derived from two things, pharmakon and logos. Pharmakon means drugs and logos means discoursing. What is a drug? It's any single chemical substance which can produce a biological response, which produces changes in the biological system. Usually that is called as a drug. So, pharmacology is science of drugs and it deals with the interaction of drug which interacts with the living system. So it includes all the aspects related to the drugs, whether it is interacting with the body or how the body is interacting with the drugs. And most importantly, pharmacology deals with the relevant, effective and safe use of drug for medicinal purposes. If we look at the definition, it is a science which deals with the study of drugs which interact with the living system through chemical processes, especially by binding to regulatory molecules which are usually present in the cells or tissues and activating or inhibiting body processes. If we look at the pharmacology, it is mainly divided into two things. One is pharmacodynamics, another is pharmacokinetics. What is pharmacodynamics? Pharmacodynamics is also a Greek word. Pharmaco we have as discussed is a drug and dynamics is the power. So pharmacodynamics tells us about the power of the drug. Actually, pharmacodynamics deals with the effect of drug on the body. That is what the drug does to the body. It includes all the physiological and biochemical effects of the drug, like how paracetamol is reducing the body temperature. So it includes mechanism of action of any drug at the organ system, tissues, cells, molecule levels. For example, if we talk about adrenaline, how does it interact with the adrenoreceptors? How it stimulates the G protein coupled receptors, how it produces stimulations, and ultimately the effect is the cardiac stimulation. In addition to it, adrenaline can produce hepatic glycogenolysis and hyperglycemia. So, in a nutshell, we can say pharmacodynamics tells us how adrenaline produces cardiac stimulation, hepatic glycogenolysis, or hyperglycemia. Another term which is pharmacokinetics, which comes under pharmacology, it deals with the movement of the drug. So, it tells us what the body does to the drug. It refers to the movement of the drug in the body and alteration of the drug in the body by the body. Mainly, it discusses absorption, distribution, metabolism, or excretion. Distribution. In addition to distribution, the drug may be involved in binding, localization, or storage of the drug. We can talk here about paracetamol. Paracetamol is completely and rapidly absorbed from the body. It is 25% bound to the plasma proteins. So, it is usually widely and uniformly distributed in all the parts of the body. It is extensively metabolized in the liver and it gets converted into inactive metabolites. These inactive metabolites then get excreted into the urine. So, in a nutshell, we can say pharmacokinetics deals with the absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion of the drug. Now, again, coming to the drug, usually the drug in our mind comes about the abuse of the drugs. But the drug is not about the abuse. It's a single chemical entity which is active, which may be present in a medicament or medicine and is used mainly for the purpose of diagnosis, prevention, treatment or cure of a disease. So we can say that a drug is a substance or a product which is used or intended to be used to modify or explore physiological systems, pathological states for the benefit of the recipient. This is the definition of the drug given by WHO in 1966. Again then, drug, usually we think it's addictive, it's abusive, it is illicit substance, but drug should refer to a substance that has some therapeutic and diagnostic applications. There are other few terms which are related to pharmacology, and we should be clear in our mind about that, and they will be used repeatedly in the pharmacology. First of all is the pharmacotherapeutics. It is the application of pharmacological information together with the knowledge of the disease for its prevention, mitigation or cure. So, for pharmacotherapeutics, what we have to do, we have to select the most appropriate drug out of the all range of the drugs available with us. We have to choose the appropriate doses of the drug, how much amount of the drug has to be given, and the duration of the treatment. Like it has to be given for 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 1 month, or lifelong. Another term is the clinical pharmacology. Clinical pharmacology deals with the scientific study of the drugs. All the drugs, either they are new or old. But this will be including the study of drugs in human beings, in man. It includes pharmacodynamics, pharmacokinetics, and we usually do the investigation of these drugs in healthy volunteers and in patients. Like in case of COVID-19 these days, many countries are up to finding a new vaccine for coronavirus. So most of the countries which are finding the drug, they are into the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials. So clinical pharmacology means when we are trying or using the drug in human beings. Mainly it deals with the evaluation of efficacy and safety of the drug, whether the drug will be effective for that particular disease or not, and how safe the drug is. And then comparative trials are done with other forms of treatment. Like if we have 2 or 3 treatments for one disorder, we'll be comparing all of them with each other, and then we'll be looking for a drug which will be having better profile, and then it will be selected. Moreover, we also do the surveillance of patterns of drugs use and adverse effects. How differently the people are using the drugs, how differently it can be prescribed for the maximum use, and adverse effects. How we can minimize the adverse effects so that it should not produce any problem to the patient. Another term which is usually coming across our body cells. And if we look at the toxicology, this is another term which is used for the study of poisonous effects of the drug and the other chemicals. Poisons or the chemicals could be household, we use in our houses, environment pollutants, industrial, agriculture, homicidal means used for murder, with the emphasis on detection, prevention and treatment of poisonings. Like if a person comes with poisoning, we should be able to identify from which disorder this patient is suffering, this poisoning is from which poison, which drug, and how we can prevent further deterioration and how we can treat the person who has come with the poisoning. It also includes the study of adverse effects of the drugs, because certain drugs may produce toxic effects if given in higher doses or taken in higher doses. It may be accidental or homicidal. Since the same substance can act as a drug or a poison depending upon the dose, so toxicology studies are done for almost all the drugs. Another common thing which we'll be seeing in case of pharmacology is the drug nomenclature. Drug nomenclature actually tells us about the how many kinds of names of the drugs are there. Like usually we have 3 types of names: chemical name, generic name and branded name. Chemical name, as we all are clear, that it mainly describes us the substance chemically. Usually IUPAC names are there. For example, 1 isopropyl amino, 3 1-ethyl hydroxy propane to ol, that is propranolol. Although this is a cumbersome process, but it is not suitable for use in prescribing because it may cause errors and it's difficult to remember the names also. So a code name is usually given like RO15 1788. It is usually the trade name or flumazenil, or sorry, chemical name of flumazenil. And usually it is assigned by the manufacturer for convenience and simplicity before an approved name is coined for the drug. So chemical names are usually for the purpose of synthesis or animal studies, but after that we usually give them a specific name. Second type of name is the non-proprietary name, which is also called as generic name. They are usually accepted by competent scientific body or authority, like United States adopted name, which is also called as USAN. Similarly, there is a British approved name which is called as BAN. So different countries have different competent scientific bodies which will be naming them as different substances. Non-proprietary names of newer drugs are usually kept uniform. There is an agreement between the companies to use the recommended international non-proprietary name, which is also called as RINN, by the companies of the countries who are members of the WHO. Many older drugs still have one non-proprietary name, for example, mepridine or pethidine or lidocaine or lignocaine for the same drug. So it may cause confusion also. Moreover, the drug, until unless it is not added into pharmacopoeia, the non-proprietary name may also be called as approved name. After this appearance in official publication, it becomes the official name. Next comes the proprietary or brand name, which we are usually familiar with, like Crocin, Digene, kind of things. They are usually assigned by a manufacturer and it is a property or trademark of that company. One drug may have multiple proprietary names like Altol, Atcardil, Atin, Lonol, Tinolol. All these are the names of atenolol which are used by different manufacturers. Brand names are designed by companies to make them catchy. They should be short, easy to remember, and often suggestive. For example, low pressure. It usually suggests that the drug will be lowering down the blood pressure. Brand names usually differ in different countries. For example, Timolol maleate eye drops are marketed as Timoptic in USA, but Glucomol in India. So even the same manufacturer marketing the same drug, but with different brand names in different countries. So same drug by same manufacturer may be having different names in different countries. And combined formulations have their multiple brand names. This may be responsible for confusion in drug nomenclature. Usually sometimes it happens that two or more drugs may be having the same name but with different effects. There is one more thing which we should be clear with, that what is an essential medicine. Essential medicine is essential drugs is a term given by WHO. They have defined essential medicines or drugs. Mainly, these drugs should satisfy the priority healthcare needs of a population. They are selected due to public health relevance or evidence on efficacy and safety. They should be having comparatively less cost. They should be cost effective, and they should be available within the context of the functioning health system at all the times, in adequate amounts, in appropriate doses forms, with assured quality, adequate information, at a price that an individual and community can afford. Every country has different lists of essential medicines or drugs. Only a handful of medicines out of the vast variety of the drugs available can meet the healthcare needs of majority of the people in any country. Many well tested and cheaper medicines are equally effective. Sometimes they are more efficacious also, and they are more safe as compared to their new congeners, because they may be more expensive and they may not be safe also. For optimum utilization of resources, governments, usually in developing countries, usually concentrate on these medicines by identifying them as essential medicines. Another term is the prescription and non-prescription drugs. Majority of the drugs, like antibiotics, they're sold in retail but against a prescription issued to the patient by a registered medical practitioner. Such kind of drugs are called as prescription drugs, and they are placed under Schedule H of the Drugs and Cosmetics Act and Rules 1945, and it is amended from time to time. Few drugs like analgesics, paracetamol, aspirin, brufen, antacids, laxatives, vitamins, iron salts, they are considered relatively harmless and they can be procured without a prescription. So such kind of drugs which can be taken without the prescription of a registered medical practitioner are called as non-prescription drugs, or they are also called as OTC drugs, that is the over-the-counter drugs, and sometimes they can also be sold even by the grocery stores. Another term is the orphan drugs. Orphan drugs are drugs or biological products which are used for diagnosis, treatment, prevention of a rare disease or a condition, or for a more common disease, endemic only in resource poor countries, for which there is no reasonable expectation that the cost of developing and marketing it will be recovered from the sales of the drug. It means if the company will be manufacturing it, developing it and then marketing it, the sales of the drug will not be able to recover the cost of the drug going in all these processes. Although these drugs are life-saving for some patients, but they are commercially non-viable. They are difficult to obtain as a medicinal product. So government in developed countries offer tax benefits, incentives to the pharmaceutical companies for developing and marketing the orphan drugs. Sodium nitrite, fomepizole, liposomal amphotericin B, rifabutin, somatriptan, digoxin immune fab. This is also called a dioxin antibody, usually come under this category. So with this we finished certain topics related to the introduction of pharmacology. Thank you very much for your participation. Have a good day.